crazy little area. This is the Portsmouth African Burying Ground. Kind of a sad story. We kind of stumbled across as we were here. Oh, and look what we got here. This is the first black person recorded in Portsmouth history, arrived in 1645. In 1708, New Hampshire's Governor Dudley reported there were 70 enslaved Africans in the colony. A few black people in the colony of Portsmouth were freed. Most were not. So that's a little bit of history here. Long story short, there was a mass grave here for like African American slaves that were obviously buried away from the whites, the colonists. So they were buried here and kind of more or less forgotten, and they actually made a street, as you can tell, over it. And then some developers were going to put something at the end of the street, and they started digging and came across 13 wooden coffins with the remains of what turned out to be African slaves. So x-ray analysis and public records and stuff declared that there were actually hundreds of black men, women, and children that were buried here. So they decided to do this instead. Some of the graves, most of the coffins were removed, had proper burials in a nearby cemetery, but some unfortunately were just down there and just too bad decomposing to be removed, so they're just kind of left there. Heather's just kind of like walking on it now, but so this is it here. Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I mean, we are part of the Union. It is East Coast, but we did have slaves too. So I stand for the ancestors here and beyond. I stand for those who feel anger. I stand for those who were treated unjustly. I stand for those who were taken from their loved ones. I stand for those who suffered the Middle Passage. I stand for those who survived upon these shores. I stand for those who paid homage to this ground, and I stand for those who find dignity in these bones. So yeah, so under here is going to be hundreds of former slaves and black African American men and women. So just another stop on the journey. We are in the Strawberry Bank, New Hampshire area. A lot of nice houses, a lot of historic houses, but you know, not with good comes bad, and this obviously isn't a great piece of history, but it's nice how they have rectified it, or tried to at least. Nice little path walking here. Oh, there's something up here. I'm gonna go look at this. Heather, I'm gonna go look at the statue. Glorious, contending the sweet to freedom. So it's got a bunch of nice words engraved along, which makes it nice looking. And then, yeah, this is all, oh, no, I didn't. Thank you. This is stuff not even documented. We're just kind of doing this on a whim. In 1760, Portsmouth town records referred to this site as the Negro Burying Yard. But over time, as Portsmouth grew, the African burying ground was paved over, built over, and overlooked. So yeah. Well, that's kind of neat. I like the little history in the streets thing. Just out for a nice little ride, and just be surprised at stuff you stumble on if you really care to look. But yeah, there's hundreds of hey everybody. I know you guys are tuning in late, but there's hundreds of African American men, women, and children. Long story short, here's the beginning of the video, but I'll say it one more time real quick. They were forgotten about, and there's a Negro burying yard here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We are a Union, we are the Yankees, but we still had slaves. The 1600s, 1700s. So they were buried here and forgotten about. They made a road, paved over them. Some contractors came in, and what year, Heather? 2004? 2013, right? 13. And they started digging and came across 13, ironically, wooden caskets with skeletons in them. So they did x-rays, and they went to town records and found out there were hundreds of black men, women, and children, slaves buried here. So they built a little shrine for them. What am I whispering? Well, I'm in the middle of the streets, and I don't want to yell, and we're talking about black people, which isn't... But anyway, in 1779, a group of 20 enslaved Africans living in Portsmouth households signed a petition to the New Hampshire Council and House of Representatives asking for their freedom. Among the petitions were Prince Whipple, owned by William Whipple, signer of the Declaration of Independence.
So William was a signer and Prince was his slave. wonder if Prince is here in this burial ground.
He could be. Well, like I was saying too, a lot of people were, like you were saying, uprooted and moved to proper burial grounds. Some were too far gone, but yeah.
They were able to locate and they did a read.
So they're under the street there when Heather was walking. And there's another thing here. This is cool. We stand for those forgotten. The first known enslaved African, a man from Guinea, right?
Yep.
Arrived in Portsmouth in 1645. He was among hundreds of Africans captive to live in slavery in New Hampshire. Throughout the colonial era, New Hampshire's affluent port had a large number of slaves in the colony. Up to 4% of the population recorded the census in 1767. By 1810, few, if any, people of African descent were enslaved. So they started getting free. We were, see, that's what they called it. That's why I don't want to be shouting that stuff out. I don't want you to be careful. Even though it's on the placard, I don't want to be yelling it. But yeah, documentary evidence indicates that the African burying ground was in use as early as 1705 AD. This area now, that is now Chestnut Street, was undeveloped parcel of the outskirts of town. So basically, yeah, all the bodies are on the street. There's still hundreds of bodies here. They removed as many as they could, but there's a lot of black men and women and children buried here. So yeah, this is a big, it's not just the South. Oh, look at that building. Look at that Rockingham building. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Portsmouth's gorgeous.
Those lions are known to move and turn their heads at times.
Oh, really? Well, let's go check that out while we're here. But let's go pay homage to this young man.
Oh, wow.
He's got a fly on his head. Have to get some pictures.
Check this out.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Look at how they're hiding behind the
so
wall.
Sad. Yeah, it is
for their
sad, Betsy.
hands.
Yeah, downtown, this is like what's known as the Strawberry Bank Museum. There's a bunch of shipbuilders' houses and decoration. That's why they have the presidential things here. There's a lot of like presidential shit. Wow, that place is fucking amazing.
Just trying to touch.
Just pretty. We'll get a picture with that after. Before we're gonna go live, and then we're gonna take some pictures. So cool. We went to a nice little grist mill, where Foundation in Wells, Betty and Barney Hill Jr.'s house, where they lived and died in after the alien abduction, and now a nice little memento to the African American slaves in America.
Here's this
Black Heritage Trail. See? Wow, this building itself's got to be 1817s. Site of the Negro burying ground. In colonial Portsmouth, segregation applied in death as in life. City officials approved a plan in 1705 that set aside the city block for a quote-unquote Negro burying ground. It was close to town, but published to what was then the outer edge. And by 1813, houses were built over it. So some of these houses possibly are on top of the graves, basically. Look at this place. And they got a placard up front, too. Looks like we're taking some pictures today, Heather. Hopefully we don't get towed.
Someone come and get us if we do, okay?
Yeah, we'll start our GoFundMe if we get towed. There's another Black Heritage sign up here. I'll go check that out in a minute. Look at this place. Whoa. Rockingham. Look at the windows and the way it pops out. Lions are beast.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Look at this place. It's Frank Jones Hotel. In 1832 to 1902, Frank Jones was a Barrington-born farm boy. He came to Portsmouth, New Hampshire as a teenager and literally rose from rags to riches in remarkably short time. A man of boundless energy and daring, he parlayed the fortune he amassed as a brewer of beer, into vastly great wealth through investments in a myriad of enterprises, including banking, insurance, and shoe manufacturing. Among his most successful ventures were in Rockingham and Wentworth hotels. That's the top of the hotels now we're looking at. It must be him, king of the ale makers. Ah, the brewman.
So if you see the faces.
Those are up top. Oh, here comes the rain. Yeah, here comes the rain. Yeah, all the houses along the whole thing are pretty wild. Oh, it's going to downpour. We got to go. Good timing. Thanks for watching, guys.